introducing themselves and telling us a little bit about their books. Belinda might even show off her mug. Do you want to start with it? Shall we start with you, Belinda?
Yeah, I'm Bilinda. I write under the name Bilinda P. Sheehan. I write crime, police procedurals, and some psychological thrillers. And my first police procedural series is the D.I. Haskell and Quinn, which follows a forensic psychologist, Dr. Harriet Quinn, and a DI called Drew Haskell. And they solve crime and fight baddies and all that kind of good stuff. And that's the first book there on my mug. And I mean, that's sort of me.
Meg?
Hello, I'm Meg Jolly. I write the D.I. Daniel Ward Yorkshire Crime Thriller series, set with D.I. Daniel Ward and his team in the Homicide Murder Inquiry team. I think that's right. In Bradford in West Yorkshire. I'm questioning myself because I'm super nervous, so I'm very sorry. So I can't even remember my own book. But my first crime book launched last week. It's The Past We Went From, and just like Belinda, it's G.I. Ward taking names and getting the bad guys.
Good. So I invited you both on because you're both kind of, we've got like a little Yorkshire crew going on this evening, haven't we?
Yorkshire pride.
Yeah. we're all based up here.
Yeah, one of my suspects is where you live, Caroline.
Yes.
So just around the corner. Sorry.
I know. I read it and was like, this is quite close to where I live. Did a little portal call. So tell us a bit about the locations in your books. And we'll start with you, Meg.
So I write about West Yorkshire, where I live, where I've grown up. It's a place that I really love, and it's just a joy to be able to write about it in my stories. So they're set in and around West Yorkshire. So there's, Bradford, the surrounding villages, up into North Yorkshire, sort of Ilkley Way, Skipton. It's just really nice to write about places that I know and love, and hopefully give it a bit of a flavour that makes the series a little bit unique.
I think you succeeded, Belinda.
Thank you.
Well, I moved to Whitby, so I mean I'm an outsider, but I absolutely fell in love with the place and North Yorkshire in general. I mean, I think the moors are just, they're so dreamy. That's all I can say about them. So in sort of moving here, I decided that I just wanted to kind of show a little bit of that in my books. I mean, I probably don't, I don't even come close to doing it justice, but I just love the area so much that I wanted to base my characters here and sort of just sprinkle in little bits and pieces as I learned about it, sort of as an outsider. And that was kind of my reasoning for doing it. It makes the research easy.
Definitely.
That's a good point, I suppose. If you're basing things around where you live, it does help.
Yeah.
It turned out when we were chatting, getting to know each other for this chat, Belinda and I also both write fantasy, where we have to make all this stuff up. And it's actually really nice to just write about a real place that I know, instead of having to think like how the laws of physics and magic work and all the rest of it. It's just like, we just look outside and it's
so handy.
I know, right?
You can't do that when you're writing fantasy. There is no Google Maps for some far-flung land.
No. We've already got some comments. We've got my dad is saying hello.
Hi.
He's just coming up as Facebook user, but I can see who that's commenting on my phone. TG, who's one of our authors. She writes as TK Gearing. She's saying evening all. Sam is saying hi. Hi, Kaz, Belinda and Meg. My dad says, how do you check your police procedures? Shall we start with Belinda?
I research a lot. Like, I watch a lot of the real, all those real policing programs on television, The Force and all them kinds of ones. And then I have contacted a couple of the local forces to try and get some sort of local more local sort of flavour, and, you know, sort of get to know how they operate and things like that. And they've been very, very helpful. And then, I mean, aside from that, I research loads. I read tons, and I'm constantly on all the sort of all the internet sites looking for everything to do with police procedure and things like that. And it's the same then with the psychology. I mean, I've taken a whole load of classes, and I have a stack of books about 5 miles long, just trying to sort of get an oversight on everything so that I can write it as authentically as possible. I mean, I'll never manage it, but I try really, really hard to nail it down.
Meg?
Yeah, the same sort of thing, really. I'm kind of a perfectionist, so it's hard to rein that back in. Part of me focuses on the characters, the stories, what's happening, and then making sure I'm dropping the procedural stuff in. But absolutely, that requires research. If I'm in the middle of an interview and I'm thinking, oh, what actually happens here? It's right, off to Google. What can I find? I just finished reading this book, The Dark Side of the Mind, today by Kerry Baines. Oh, it's absolutely fantastic.
Brilliant.
This is about forensic psychology. Never had any experience of that, and this book is going to be super useful. Our own Kate Bendelow, her book on CSI is awesome.
Yeah.
And basically Google, obviously in lockdown there's no libraries or things like that. So I'm just getting a very questionable Google history, probably on a few watch lists, but that's fine. You know, learning all sorts of stuff.
I'm expecting any one of these mornings now to have my front door kicked in and be just like, I'm an author, I swear, I'm not doing anything wrong.
Yeah, no murdering here, guys, just fictional.
Yeah. Oh.
We have lots of experts that can help as well in the group. So we've got Leslie McAvoy, who does forensic profiling and things. Meg, you've asked questions on our Ask the Expert.
Yes. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's fantastic. So I really appreciate the resources in this group, because you just can't find this anywhere else. It's a great group for readers, but also for authors as well.
That is brilliant.
Belinda, there's a comment here for you from Sam. She says, I know we need to talk about books, but how gorgeous is your wallpaper? Oh, I think it's for both of you, actually, because Meg's is amazing.
Yours is like a magical forest. I keep on admiring it.
Yeah, so fantasy reference. This is my Lothlorien, so my Galadriel's forest.
Gorgeous.
But yeah, it doesn't really have crime vibes. Sorry, guys.
Sam says we're all on their watch lists. I think she's saying need a disclaimer list saying we're authors/readers. I think I need one saying I'm a science teacher, to be honest, because the amount of things I've bought off Amazon that are like things that you use to make like
questionable things,
fun science things with, and they've come up with like recommendations like, if you buy this you also buy fuse wire, and I'm like, well, yes, I will buy fuse wire. And then thinking
a million ways that could go wrong.
I did actually tumble dry my fuse wire, but everything was fine. The house survived.
That's all that matters.
I'm fairly sure I'm on a watch list just for being a science teacher. What's the craziest thing you've learned while you've been researching?
I feel like I know a lot more about dead stuff than I ever thought I would.
Yeah.
But it's hard to pinpoint the exact thing that I thought, you know, oh, that's the weirdest or the grossest or the most disturbing. Probably like corneas for me. I didn't realize what happened to your corneas after you die, like your eyes and stuff. They like go pale and cloudy. So educated my husband on that, just in case he needed it. But that kind of freaked me out.
I don't really know, if I'm quite honest. I mean, my mom is obsessed with all things murder. I mean, she's the one that sort of got me into this. I say that like she got me into it. She got me into murder. No, she really got me into
that doesn't
crime.
Sound good.
It doesn't. She got me into crime from like a very young age. Like I can remember watching cartoons and stuff as a kid, and it was all about, you know, how to avoid being abducted and all this kind of things. My mom was like, you know, teach them young, and then you'll never be pushed into a van and, you know, someone absconds with you or whatever. So I honest to God, cannot pinpoint anything that's crazy now at this point, because I read something and I'm like, yeah, I can completely see that. Yes. So for me, I have no idea what's the craziest thing now that I've read or learned. I mean,
I
dead
think with
stuff. I'm like,
fantasy as well.
fine.
Yeah. I think with fantasy as well, we learn to suspend like disbelief, don't we?
Yeah, I think you're right there. I mean, that's probably a big part of it.
I think my mum was always fairly confident they'd just bring us back if anyone ever took us.
Is that a compliment or a veiled insult?
Who knows?
No, for my 18th birthday, my mom and dad bought me a book called Predators. I can't remember the name of the author, but the book is actually called Predators, and the inscription on the inside of it is just "eyes wide open," and you just go, "Yep, that's my parents."
How sentimental.
Exactly.
Well, my parent is saying that Whitby and Sands End are two of his favourite places.
They're gorgeous.
They like walking the dog there. Alex Scarrow says hello.
Oh, hey, Alex. I've
Hi.
just finished reading your book, Silent Tide, which was incredible. One of my top 3 reads this year. It's really good.
It's on my Kindle read list, but I'm always
Bump it up if you can. Yeah, bump it up
but
if
when
you can.
people say that some things like that, I've got this phrase called a "shut up and take my money" author.
He is one of
Whether
those.
it's
Yes.
like someone that you don't need to know, like the name is on the book, that's all that matters. And I've just finished reading this morning one of my students' "Shut Up and Take My Money" authors, and they were amazing. So I'm always up for a good recommendation. Who are yours? Who would be on your "Shut Up and Take My Money" author lists?
Definitely Alex Scarrow now. Also A.D. Fox. A.D. Fox, she definitely is top of that right now. Her books are incredible. And Carol Wyatt, I'm really liking her stuff. What about you?
Mine is Val McDermott. I'm just like, I swear, anything that woman wrote. She wrote her shopping list and posted it online. I'd be like, just take all my money. Here's my bank account. So I mean, definitely her. And then in fantasy, it'd be like, oh my God, my mind has gone blank. Patricia Briggs, people like that.
Oh
Yeah. I just love all those people.
And then who have we got left? My dad says he's ashamed. My dad's also the founder of the group. So he likes a lot of crime books. So he's ashamed he's not read either of your books yet. Shame on you, Dad, as well, because they're both set in Yorkshire. And you love
terrible.
books like that.
In fairness, mine has been out like 6 days, so that's forgiveness is fine.
He says, do you incorporate black humour in your books?
Yeah.
I don't think I'm very humorous, so I'm going to have to sort of probably say no on that one. I'm just not good at it. I'm terrible. Like, I'm very, very serious when I write. So, unfortunately, I'd love to say I could. And my partner is like brilliant at doing the whole humor thing, but I'm like, no. If I wrote jokes, it'd basically just all be knock jokes, and that'd be brutal. No one wants to read that. Christmas cracker stuff. Just be terrible.
I must admit, I'm not a particularly funny person. I could never be a stand-up comedian, but I thrive on sarcasm, so there's some snark in the book. And that's, yeah.
Yeah, it's always good.
Alex has said that, are these your writer's rooms? Can we have a look around? I think she's being nosy.
Yeah. So, in my writer's room, I have that's my PC where I do. Hang on, I can't do this. All my like admin stuff that's really boring. I do all my writing on sofas or dining room chairs because they're more comfy. And this is keep moving the opposite way to the camera. This is just like my book shrine. I'm trying to persuade my husband to let me have books anywhere else in the house, but I'm not getting very far.
You just need to work on it. Mine's given up. There are like books everywhere in my house.
I'll get there eventually.
To like the fate of just books being everywhere. Belinda, is that your writing room?
It is. Unfortunately, because I'm on my actual computer, I can only basically show you like that way to books and shelves and bits and bobs. And then that way to a giant cat tree.
Nice.
That's about as far around as I can go at the moment. It's got
This is the
nothing.
only room in our house without a cat tree.
Every room in my house got cat trees. I have
They
two.
just take the chairs.
One there
So.
and one over there. They never bother sleeping in them. We buy so much furniture for them, and they're just like, no, you sit on it.
Alex has said that he's currently reading your book, Meg.
Oh, thank you so much. I hope you're enjoying it.
And hopefully, I think he's going to be downloading yours as well, Bilinda.
Oh, excellent. Thank you.
Sam says booksplosion in her house. Hubby no longer tries to contain it. So this is it. You just work on it. If you just bring them in like a lots at a time, they give up.
Got him accustomed to like having stuff all over the house, and we have a child, so there's like all the child stuff. So I think if I just generally creep the books outwards, maybe he'll never notice, and then it's too late. Bam.
Yeah, there you go.
Perfect.
Sam says, how long have you both been writing for? Especially because you've both sort of written in other genres as well.
I've been writing full time now for 10 years. So this is my job. And then before that, I suppose about 20 years in total, I think, roughly.
You don't look old enough to be writing that long. Meg?
I think I started my first like novel about 15 years ago. Probably been about 10 years of trying to actually write. It took me like ages to write that first novel, and then once I'd done that, it was like, I've got the bug, can't stop this. And I've been doing it full time for 5 years this year. So I've made my name in fantasy, basically. I'm a full-time fantasy author, but crime is also a genre that I love. So I'm breaking out in crime this year. Writing, not crime sprees, crime writing sprees, I hasten to add.
Here's a nice little update. So my dad has just purchased book ones from both of you.
Thank you. Hope you enjoy them.
He will. He's a Leeds native, so he's definitely going to enjoy your wander around Bradford.
Yeah, we pop into Leeds for a little bit, have a day trip down to Sheffield.
Little trips to my area are the ones.
Little trip to your area.
But it is prime for criminals because there is a jail very nearby.
Yep, mention that too.
Can't miss it when you get to here. TG wants to know what character from your books, and this is a really good one because it lets us delve into your characters from your crime books a bit. So, which character from your books would you take out for a drink?
That's a good question.
Should we give the honest answer or the polite answer?
Well, yeah. I'm going to say I'd bring Harriet out for a drink because number one, I think she needs to loosen up a bit, and number two, I'd just spend my time picking her brain over criminals and murderers and serial killers and what she could teach me about them. But I think Drew would probably be a lot of fun if you could get a few drinks into him. I think that'd be. Though it'd be, yeah. I think Harriet. That's who I'd go with. I'm sticking with that. That's my final answer.
Meg?
I would go with D.I. Daniel Ward himself, who is in part based on my husband, who is basically just a typical grumpy Yorkshireman. And apparently that's what I go for. And he's a good laugh, sarcastic, witty, handsome, obviously. A good company, so I'd probably go for him. Big softy at heart, but puts on a tough front. So yeah, I'd probably take him for a drink, and then maybe my husband won't be too offended by that because it's sort of based on him.
Covering your bases there, so yeah.
Is that the honest answer then? Is there anyone else in either of your books that's based on people that you know?
Legally speaking, I don't think I can answer that.
Not directly for me, but I used to, back in one of my previous careers, when I was going through uni, I worked at one of the local supermarkets, and we've got a really large Slovakian population in that area. And there was just the most lovely young gentleman there, and he helped me learn some Slovakian. So I've sort of brought aspects of that and of him into the book. But it's like there's not anyone based on him, but that's helped sort of shape how I wrote the Slovakian into the book.
That's so nice.
You from the minute you described them as nice, you know that that's not going to be the person in the book.
Yeah, no, the guy I knew was really nice. The guy in the book is very not nice.
The guy in the book is very not nice.
Very not nice. But the Slovakian thread comes back, and in book 2, there's more of the person that I knew sort of bursting in the character. So, but yeah,
Did you learn Slovakian? So did you know the phrase that you'd like written in the book?
Yeah, no, yes. Yeah, I used to, whenever I'd see my colleague, I'd be like, ahoy, dobry den, and he'd be like, ako si máš, and how you doing, sort of thing, and it'd be this little laugh, and I'm sure my pronunciation was terrible, but he took it in good humour, so I appreciate his kindness in helping me learn.
I think that's so nice. I mean, I think it's so lovely to sort of have that connection, and you know what I mean, and then through language as well, even more of a connection. I think that's lovely.
Yeah, because what I found working in that job was that the people who were coming over from Slovakia or somewhere else, and they didn't necessarily speak English as their first language, it wasn't very common that an English person would speak their own language to them. And they would just light up when you said hello to them in their own tongue and, how can I help you?
Yeah.
And that was just that instant way to just make a really nice connection with people. And that's something that's really stuck with me. And I try to bring a flavour of that into my writing as well, to think, well, how would my detective actually approach someone? And he knows this Slovakian too, so he can approach a vulnerable Slovakian person and like put them at ease. I don't know, that was just something that felt really important to me when I was writing it, to bring in.
Oh, I think that's so lovely. I think it's really beautiful. It's such a human touch. Sorry, I'm taking over there.
No, this is great. TG wants to know what fantasy books you both write.
So I write epic fantasy under the pen name Meg Cowley. Magic, dragons, elves, war, quests, adventure. Lord of the Rings, Game of Thrones kind of thing. So a little bit different to Bilinda.
I write urban fantasy. So it's witches, banshees, gorgons. I was going to say gorgonzola there. I swear my brain tonight is mad.
Witches, banshees,
exactly. It's the same thing. And it's the sort of the real world, and they're all fighting. They fight crime and, kill baddies. And it seems to be a theme with all of my writing down through the years. Just fighting crime.
Oh, there's a question from Alex Scarrow. He says, how long do you spend plotting before writing?
I don't plot. So I don't spend any time at all plotting. I know nothing about the book when I start it, except for the title. And I sit down. I know I should never admit that, because it's like sacrilege as a writer. But I sit down and just type as the words come to me. My brain moves faster than my fingers do, so that's a help. But other than that, I don't know anything about it at all going into it, and then it's just all flying by the seat of my pants as I go along.
See, I'm always amazed by people who say this, that they don't plot beforehand, and they just, because we've got other authors who admit this as well. Yeah. And then there are always the people who have really intricate plots. They're like really entertaining, and you have no idea how they thought of something that complicated and just made it up as they've gone. It's
Could not
amazing.
do that.
Want
I think
to
that'd
see
make my
my
brain
brains as
explode.
Do you make it up as you go, or do you plot, Meg?
God no, that would make my brain explode. That's amazing, but I cannot work like that. I need order and structure and lists and things. The second book I wrote was a 90,000 word book. I did 30,000 words of plotting.
Oh my God.
I know. I have pared it back a lot. But normally like
It'll give me
3,000.
palpitations.
I know. I was still learning. I was a wee baby author then. But now I probably write about two or 3,000 words. I've just plotted the third book in this series, and that took me a morning just to sort of blurt onto a page all my ideas, wrangle it together like herding cats, and then put it in a vague plot structure. And I can go from that, a paragraph for a few chapters. That's fine. I can now string that out because I've got the structure and I'm practiced enough to be able to pull the story out of that. But I don't know how you do it. Massive respect, but I could not just start with
seriously,
nothing.
I'm so jealous of the fact that you can plot, because I think, like, I've tried plotting, and even if I write notes, my brain behaves as though I've written the book. So it goes, nah, been there, done that, not doing that one again. So I can't even write notes at the end of a scene to remind myself of what I want to write next. So I just admire people who can plot, because I'm like, I really wish I could do that.
I've definitely had to pare back because I've had that exact same thing. If I've sat and written, 3,000 words for just one chapter or whatever, I just bored, been there, done that. I don't want to write that again. So completely the same. It's for me, it's that fine balance of about a paragraph a chapter now. But previously, it would have been like 1,500 words to plan a 2,500 word chapter, which is obviously not very efficient. But I think it's just finding something that works for you, and just stripping it out over time. It evolves just like we evolve as writers. Exactly. I don't think you should be ashamed that you are a pantser. I think that's a really strong skill to have, and if it works for you, nothing wrong with it.
But you have a series, right, Bilinda? So that I've only read book one, but I will read more. How do you keep track of all the details of your characters across the series if you are making them up as you go?
Search in Kindle is really helpful.
I was going to ask if you put like a character list. No, you don't do that.
No, I'm the least organized person you will ever meet, unfortunately. So, I mean, I wish that I kept like a Bible, a series Bible and stuff like that. But no, I don't. I
don't either. I know I should, but I don't.
Yeah.
I'm like you. If I need to know something, I'll just go back and search it, or I've got my list of characters. That's fine.
Yeah, I mean.
So I'm trying to keep up with this so I don't just monopolise you and ask you all my questions. So Sam has dropped some website links. Sam, you need to drop Meg's Meg Jolly author link as well. You got your fantasy author link in there, but you need to drop the other one.
I don't have a website for my crime yet. It's in development. So I'm on Facebook and I'm on Amazon, but there's not a website just yet. The page isn't quite finished.
Nice. My dad says he likes the new voice panels are great. He's just saying this because it is mostly his idea, but this is what happens is my dad comes up with these ideas. So last year about this time, April-ish, he was like, Harrogate's cancelled. It'd be a really great idea if we did an online festival.
And then left it to you to sort out by any chance.
Yeah, and then just kind of sat back and let us work it all out.
Smart man.
Yeah.
So occasionally he does these things. He just goes, this would be a really good idea. And then gets to watch it and enjoy. TG thinks both of you are really interesting. Sam says, without spoilers, have you looked back at any of your writing and been surprised at what you've thought of?
Yeah, I have the memory of a gnat. I read a book I've written and I'm like, I don't remember any of these words. Some of these are quite good.
I'm the same.
Yeah.
I like pick it up and go, someone else wrote this.
Yeah. I realized the other week I'd written my first million words, so I don't remember them. I don't remember what I did yesterday.
I can relate to that. Yeah,
I'll blame it on
uh,
lockdown brain, but really that's just a character trait.
yeah, I could agree with that one there. Definitely. I've never changed in all the years.
Well,
I'm
you know what? We
fascinated.
can't be perfect, can we?
I'm fascinated by this, like,
No,
thing
true.
that you don't remember some of the details, because you both have written, like, crime is a really detailed, driven genre to, like, hide all the clues, and then you've also both written fantasy, which in, like, the world building and everything else is really detail ridden, but you
Yes.
can't remember.
I think it's like when
No.
we need the detail, we go find it. Oh, what eye color is that Right, I remember that I wrote it in this book. I'll just go look in that book. Or what did this place look like? I remember I wrote that at this section in that book. Where's the chapter? Oh, there it is. Read it, write it.
Yeah.
That's kind of how I work. Or yeah.
I'm the same way. Yeah, like I said, I mean, searching Kindle is great because I'm just like eyes. And then every mention that I've ever had of the word eyes comes up and I'm like, whose eye colour am I looking for? All right, yeah, grand. Write that down. So, I don't know.
Brilliant.
This is behind the veil of a full-time author. We don't got it all together. We just don't got it, but we managed.
What is
Yeah,
the
somehow
difference?
stumbling through.
What's the difference been then? Because you're both quite successful in the fantasy genre to swapping. What kind of differences is there in marketing the two type of books?
Haven't done enough to know yet, but I will see. For me, I'm definitely going to be marketing in a different marketplace. I don't know about you, Belinda, but 75% of my fantasy readers are women in the United States aged mid-40s or up, whereas I'll be
Yeah.
marketing to the UK. I'm not quite sure on the demographic of how that will work out yet for the crime stuff. So it's I think it's just going to be apples and oranges in terms of who's reading it for starters.
I mean, I think in a lot of ways, what I've found with marketing and stuff like that is that the demographic skews a little older than the fantasy. But it's still predominantly female from what I can see, or what I've discovered at least. It seems to be predominantly female that I'm marketing towards. They seem to like it.
Yeah,
I'm terrible at marketing. I'm brutal. Selling myself is not my strong point.
no, but I'm very grateful for things like Facebook advertising, Amazon advertising,
Oh God,
because it means that
lifesaver.
yeah, I'm not really a video kind of person. I don't really like putting images of myself out there. I'm not really that outgoing or confident. So actually, just being able to like type a ad copy and put a book cover in there and click go and just look at metrics, that's helpful for me. And then actually, I can focus the rest of my time on just writing, trying to write great stories, and then trying to connect them with readers who'd like them in a sort of introvert friendly way.
I love how you said there that you look at metrics. I'm just like, type up ad copy really badly, put in a picture, and then go, I spent a lot of money and I'm not sure if I got any sort of return off that, but it's fine.
I'm trying to get better at it. I'm trying to get better at it. I've got friends who are so good at ads, and that spurs me to not bury my head in the sand.
I know. I'm just basically some sort of ostrich.
Yeah.
In a human form.
Yeah, I think we're quite similar. The thing we enjoy and the thing we're really good at is the writing.
Yes.
And I am a creature of comfort, so that's where I tend to stay. So I'm trying to get out of my comfort zone and work on marketing more.
Have you found any useful kind of tips to help promoting books? Have you found any other useful sort of advice from authors and things?
I mean, I'm assuming that a lot of the fantasy practices are quite applicable. So cross-author promos, working together with other authors is a really, really good way to market books and the usual sources like Facebook and AMS.
Yeah, I mean, it seems to be kind of the same. Once you've got the nuts and bolts down, everything else seems to be kind of roughly the same. It's just a different marketplace. I mean, I can't sell my my UK books in America now to save my life, but over in the UK they seem to be doing okay. So
Yeah, and I think we were talking just before we went live about the skew towards in fantasy and in crime, the similarity in that a lot of readers for indie authors are KU readers. So that changes the
yeah,
balance of marketing as well. But because a lot of fantasy readers are KU readers and a lot of crime readers are KU readers, again, that kind of helps us because we kind of know what we're dealing with. So again, we can transfer, I think, a lot more than perhaps like a wide author or a traditionally published author. We've kind of done a bit in the same sort of arena, which I think is very helpful.
yeah, it is.
Fingers crossed, anyway.
So Dad says, useful fact, more than 73% of this group's members are female.
Oh yeah, I was right.
In that way, we're a good way for you to advertise. Samantha says, was it Samara? Yeah. No, it was TG who asked this question. Sorry, I'm attributing the wrong person to the wrong question. TG says, how do you choose character names? This is always a really interesting question because people have the weirdest ways of doing it. So how do you choose your character names?
I just pick names that I like and sound kind of interesting. And then if I'm not doing that, I'm looking up baby books for names. that's how I choose them.
Pretty much the same here. I think we've got a lot in common. Are we like sisters separated at birth?
Twins.
Yeah. I think the thing is, it's hard because you can't base your characters on real people for legal reasons, nor can you name them after real people, which would be a helpful mine of names at least for legal reasons. There are quite a few villainous names that I have in mind, but for legal reasons, I'd better not use them. You know, arch enemies and the like.
Unless people are happy to let you use their name.
Probably not in the cases of my arch enemies.
TG says she writes fantasy, and to promote, she tends to stick business cards behind tins in supermarkets or under coffee cups in cafes.
Oh, that's a really cool idea.
That's nice. I would do that if I went out. If I left my house.
Yeah, slight problem.
The second part of her other question was, how has lockdown affected your writing?
Oh, badly. So
Which
bad.
lockdown? Which lockdown?
I was going to say let's keep them as a whole, like 1 to 3. Although they have been massively different, because I spent like the first lockdown completely in, and then by the third was just going to work and stuff. So
yeah, it's definitely changed. I didn't work for the first lockdown. I have a young son, so I basically had just quit work for 2 months to look after him, because that was the only solution we had at the time. So that really hampered last year. That was actually really tough on mental health because being a writer and having that compulsion to write and also being very driven because this is my career and I love what I'm doing. It's my outlet and also it's my financial security as well. There's like so much tied into that it was really hard to have to just step back to prioritize family. But across the rest of the year, I got back into it. And this lockdown's actually been super productive. I've never been as productive as I have in this lockdown, but that's because my little one's been back at nursery, so which I'm really grateful for. It's allowed me to get that stability back in my life. But yeah, lockdown 1 and 2, 1 star, do not recommend. Lockdown 3, still would prefer human contact.
Yeah, I've quite honestly found lockdown horrendous. I mean, I don't go out a whole lot. I'm not a shut-in, but I don't go out a whole lot anyway. I'm very introverted. But I think the whole idea of not being allowed to go out at all and sort of that whole fear surrounding it, I found it very hard on sort of my mental health side of things. And when it comes to writing, then it's nearly impossible. How are you supposed to think up what people are doing if you can't even focus on what you're supposed to be doing yourself? So I found it very hard. I really struggled, but I'm getting better at it, slowly but surely.
I think we are all being very resilient no matter what situation we're in, we're becoming very resilient, and I think that's a good quality. But there's also been a lot of suffering and hardship,
Yeah,
and that's definitely
hugely.
not anything to talk about lightly. It's been really blooming hard. I
Yeah,
think you have to just do the best you can, and that is absolutely good enough.
Is it a topic
exactly.
either of you would cover in your crime novels?
Say that again, sorry.
Is lockdown a topic either of you would cover in your crime novels?
Everyone's having this debate at the moment. I don't think I want to. I respect that it's happening and I respect its life, but I'm living it and I can't get out. I don't want to escape into a book and have to live it again. So for me, I think probably not. But it may be in years to come,
Yeah.
with distance and time, I might make reference.
Yeah, I think I would feel the same way. Like right now, all I want to do is escape. So the
Yeah,
last thing that I want to do is write about having to wear masks and stay away from people and stuff like that. But I
yeah.
mean, like down the road, like maybe 5 years' time, I'd be happy then to reference it and go, oh, that was horrendous and terrible, and how things have changed since then. But
Hopefully they
actually
have, yeah.
write about it. Oh, fingers crossed. Please.
Yeah, I know. It's been
But
really nice to be able to write about my characters. And I've had to put in
being
bits
normal.
about Brexit because there's some shipping stuff, and obviously that's changed. And I'm
Yeah.
like, wait, that's permanent. Okay, I need to do something with that. But actually, like, they go out and about, and there's no
Yeah.
distancing, and they go to a cafe, and it's just like, oh, to dream about all these things.
I know, it's so nice just sort of
Yeah,
thinking about normal life. That's living
yeah.
vicariously through your characters.
I was literally about to say the exact same word.
CD wants to know who designs your book covers.
Mine are designed by a lady at the Book Cover Collection.
Awesome. I run my own book cover design company as well, so I actually do my own, which is ordinarily not something I would advise indie publishing authors. I only do them because I run a book cover company specializing in thriller covers.
But
Nice.
you're clearly really good at it because your covers are gorgeous.
Oh, thank you so much. Basically, my strategy has been I don't want a real job again, and I'm good at drawing and I'm good at writing stories, so I'm just going to make those things pay the bills, and then I don't have to get a proper job again. It sounds
Sounds
like a
good.
plan.
Sam says she's grateful for your honesty. It reflects so much for so many. What are you looking forward to when we're roaming freely again? I want to go to the bookstore.
It'll be so nice.
Honestly, we've missed out on so much, and it's been so long. I'm still at the point where I don't dare dream about something as simple as going to the beautiful Waterstones in Bradford. Which if no one's seen a picture, please Google the Waterstones in Bradford. It's this beautiful,
It's
beautiful
gorgeous.
bookstore. Yep. Meeting my friend for a coffee or going for a trip somewhere. I kind of don't dream, but those are the things that I'm really looking forward to, I think. Simple.
Mine is being fit to see my mom because she lives in Ireland and I'm over here. So we see each other on Skype every day. But like just being fit to see her in person and hug her, I so desperately want to do that.
That must be really hard.
My dad says, were either of you going to be at Harrogate this year? Because Harrogate is potentially on. It's saying it's on in July.
I haven't planned any events, but it would actually be really great to know what's in the calendar, because it would be nice to attend things if it's possible. But it's just
I mean, the
knowing
good
what's
news about Harrogate is you can just kind of roll up and enjoy like all the outside bits.
I
And
haven't
me and Sam
planned
have some
anything.
plans for it. You've not planned anything?
Oh, nice. I haven't planned anything. I mean, I think I'm just going to take this year as a kind of a get my vaccines, try and maybe get back to a little bit of normality and wait and see how next year goes. For me, anyway.
Yeah, I mean, there's some things that have already been cancelled for this year, and yeah, I guess feels like we can't bank on anything just yet, but it'd be really great if it's safe, if some things can go ahead.
I'm hoping for
That'd be
Harrogate.
fantastic.
And I've
Fingers
got
crossed.
festival tickets for later in the year that I'm kind of hoping will happen.
Yeah.
Sam says, what have been your most memorable moments as authors so far? The favourite UK CBC question this.
For me, I think getting my first email from a reader, that was like, wow. This was years ago now, but like my first email from a reader was like, oh my God, somebody that I don't know has read my books, and that was amazing. And then under a pen name, which I don't associate with, I'm a USA Today bestseller, and that was nice. So that's two. I cheated.
Yeah, I totally agree with that. Getting reader emails is awesome. Getting USAT is super awesome. That's like such an exciting day. I'm USAT on my fantasy pen name as well. But I think the biggest one for me was probably I went to see one of my favourite childhood authors growing up, Christopher Paolini, in 2011. And he inspired me to actually sit down and get my first book idea written and into an actual novel. And that became my debut fantasy novel. But the big thing for me, I think, was I was going to say last year, but it definitely wasn't last year because everything was cancelled. Must have been the year before. And I got to meet him and give him a copy of the book that I'd just published. And it was just really surreal to be able to say thank you for inspiring me. Like, this is actually now my full-time career. My books have been with his in the charts. That's quite cool. My books have been higher than his in the charts, which is really cool. And like the moment he took my paperback and went, "Hey, I recognise this," was like, "Oh my god, oh my god, oh my god, oh my god." Ah. Just like that. I know, total fangirl moment. But that was really validating to be like, this man has inspired me. I've changed my life, built my dream career, and actually to kind of have that acknowledged as being on an equal platform was really cool.
That sounds awesome.
It was pretty cool. He's a nice guy.
I'm going to hit you with my all-time favourite author chat question because the memorable moments one is Sam's. My favourite to ask authors is, would you make a graphic novel of one of your books?
Yes.
Oh, like a manga?
Yeah. A manga.
Oh gosh, yeah. Definitely,
100%.
like manga would suit fantasy so well.
It'd
Or
be
like
so
a comic
cool.
would suit crime. Yeah, that'd be really cool. It's something that I've looked into before. It's just not financially viable because the cost of an illustrator versus and like printing costs and stuff, it's just not, unfortunately, not financially viable.
Yeah. No, I mean, I'd love it. I mean, I've seen in the sort of fantasy side of things, V.E. Schwab has had a lot of hers done into comics and graphic novels and stuff, and it just looks so beautiful. And I would love to. If there's any publishers out there, I am more than happy. Slide into my DMs. But I mean, no, like Meg said, it's not financially sort of viable to do it yourself, really. There's a lot involved in it. It'd be cool.
It would be amazing. I think that's the thing. We would love to bring our stories to the most amount of people in the most amount of ways that we can, but it's unfortunately limited by what is technologically possible, financially viable, that sort of thing. But if the sky was the limit, I would definitely do it.
Oh yeah, in a heartbeat.
TV as well. Netflix, I'm right here. Hi.
Me too. Don't forget about me.
Do you know, I genuinely think we need to organise like some UK CBC campaigns for Netflix. You know, we need to get some like reader groups sort of.
Cool.
Oh, we could do like a Netflix blind date behind door number 1. Is author.
We could just
would you like a would
Netflix
you like a crime
group and just be like, adapt these books.
Yeah.
We've got this many people in the group who would watch them.
Yeah. Or like the RSPCA but for authors. Please adopt our books on TV. No.
So can people buy signed copies of your books from you? Because a lot of our members like a signed copy.
Yes, but UK only for me. Due to the Brexit, I hate that word, sorry. Due to the Brexit
I know.
thing, shenanigans, shipping internationally is basically, I can't find a way to do it right now. That's not incredibly prohibitively expensive. So absolutely, signed copies have to be UK ones, but internationally right now, can't find a viable solution as yet with Brexit.
And I'm the same with the whole Brexit thing, but like I'm quite happy to do signed copies, and I do like giveaways and stuff like that of signed copies too. So I just don't have anything set up for it.
Yeah, I mean, authors can, readers can reach out directly. So fulfilled on a as as needed basis.
That's great. Are either of you in audio? Do you have like audio books?
For fantasy, yes.
Fantasy
For
as
the
well.
crime, not yet. Yeah, for crime, not yet, but it will be coming.
Yeah.
Basically, Watch This Space will be signing with an audio producer, but just not quite yet. Hopefully over the summer.
That's good news. We have some members who only like to read on audio, so it's good to know when there are new authors for them to explore as well.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. Again, I will offer it in as many formats as I absolutely can because there's so many readers who want to read in different ways.
So what are you both working on at the moment?
I'm working on book 5 of the Harriet Quinn, the D.I. Haskell and Quinn series, and I'm working on a psychological thriller, and I'm working on an urban fantasy, and I'm working on an epic fantasy. Yeah.
How do you manage to work on them all at the same time?
That's amazing.
You get confused between the stories.
No, I'm the type of person that when I can't write anymore on this one, I'll just open the next file and keep writing on the next one and just keep going through it like that. So
I love that, and I wish I could do that, but my brain will be so far down the rabbit hole, none of those books would ever get finished. So I have to sit and make myself finish the book, and only then do I get to play with the new shiny idea.
but yeah, I can't do the shiny thing. This has to be an established, you know what I mean, sort of an established idea that I've already started. If it's new and shiny, I'm like, I'm only going to write on this and nothing else.
Yeah, so I'm on one book at the moment. I'm writing one book. So I've got my projects for the rest of the year planned. It's just I have to sit and write one book and then the next. So I'm working on book 3 in the D.I. Daniel Award series. It's plotted, and I start drafting on Monday. And then I'll be back to fantasy, and then I'll be back to crime for the rest of the year.
Very
So
nice.
you're going to alternate between the two?
Pretty much. I've got book 3 of the crime next, and then it's book 3 in the fantasy, and that's the series finale. And then I'm going to write 4, 5, 6 in the crime, and then it'll be back to fantasy to write a new series in that, and then alternate one book each probably.
When does book 2 come out?
My book 2 launches. Got a wall chart here. Hang on. May the 19th, but I may bring it forward because it's actually finished now. So it's available for pre-order, but I may bring that forward because it just needs its final proofread and then it's good to go.
And when does book 5 come out for you, Bilinda?
Well, book 4 comes out the end of this month, and then book 5 comes out the end of next month.
That's awesome. Wow. I love finding a new series where you already have loads of books to read.
Yeah, I know I'm the same way myself. Then I'd forget to write those. The only problem.
Yeah, that's the only problem with being an author. Not enough reading time.
Yeah,
have to write.
Exactly. There isn't enough hours in the day.
So we've got 5 minutes left. So I'm going to hit you with one last question, and then we'll have a recap of your books. And you can show off your cupboard and things again. Yeah. So Sam says, how do you split your day down between writing, promoting, and everything else? Badly.
For me.
I like your honesty.
Yeah, I'm either working obsessively and I'm like stuck to the chair for 10, 12 hours a day. Or I have wandered off somewhere else and I'm doing other things. But I'm a very obsessive person like that. So I'm either totally involved in it or looking at television. That tends to be me. Or cleaning the house. I'll say I clean the house. We'll pretend that happens ever.
Fair enough. I think cleaning is a good excuse for planning time. Like when you're doing non-writing tasks or non-work things, you're just doing sort of the menial around the house stuff. I find that gives the best brain space for just percolating all the good stuff. So
Yeah.
not cleaning, it's all good. But I have to be a lot more structured.
So do you have like a set work time?
Oh yeah, I have a toddler, so I have to be really efficient. Basically, I work Monday to Thursday. I spend 4 hours on a morning writing, and then I flip to my cover design business. And the clients there. I flip to admin, marketing, all the other stuff, and I usually that's what my afternoons are filled with. Pre-publishing, launching, all the things, and then I get toddlers again from about 5 o'clock onwards.
You're so organized.
But have to be. I just wouldn't get anything done. But if I'm actively organized, I get stuff done. This has been my most productive quarter ever. I've written about 150,000 words this quarter, the first quarter.
Wow.
And
Nice.
edited about 200,000. Published 3 books. So if I can be organized, things happen. So I just need to stay organized. Easy peasy.
That's not hard.
I'm with Sam on her comment of I only clean if I'm raging. I sort of clean when I'm in a bad mood, or it just really needs doing.
I find that if you clean when you're in a bad mood, though, it gets done. All those cracks got into.
Exactly. And my dad says, "Great show, thank you." So, and he's bought both your books, so he's got some happy reading time. But just in case people haven't, just finish us off with a reminder of your series. Show off the book cover if you've got it.
Well, Bilinda's got her mug.
I know.
I know. It's D.I. Haskell and Quinn crime thriller series, and A Wicked Mercy is the first book, and it's 99p or free in Kindle Unlimited.
Mine is Past We Run From. That's the first book, and then the second book is coming on pre-order, and that is The Revenge We Seek. And the first book is available in print or on Kindle for 99p for a limited time.
Great.
Awesome.
And then all that's left for me to say is thanks so much for joining us.
Thank you so much. This has been really fun, and thank you to the group. It's just an awesome place.
Yes, it's been excellent. Thank you very much.